This conversation that you're about to listen to by John Gray, his wife Aventer, and eventually he brings Carl Lentz on, was something I watched on John Gray's Instagram Live. It was so impactful to me that I felt compelled to figure out a way to download it and put it up on YouTube because I want more people to hear it. So inspirational, so enlightening, so real, and I love the way that John and his wife express the reality of what it's like to pastor as Black people, and then to have Carl Lentz come in as a white pastor who is adamant about fighting for these same issues, but to hear it from a white man's mouth is just encouraging, and it is eye-opening, because that's what the body of Christ is that we fight for each other. We fight for doing the right thing by one another, no matter who you are. I hope you enjoy this combo.
Something that you can tell people to tune in, but we're getting ready to have a real conversation tonight. I haven't been able to shake what I've been feeling all day. That's my son.
Hi.
Matter of fact, he's my only son. And come here, son. Come on. This is my son. And he has equal right to live free, to live without fear, to live without oppression as any other human being in this nation. He should be able to walk, run, jog without fear of somebody pulling up in a pickup and shooting him. Going over there with your mother now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One of my friends sent me this video, and I can't shake it. For those who don't know.
Hi.
Hello, baby.
Goody.
All right.
Goody.
It's time for you to go to bed. It is late. We're in a dangerous time, and I want to say this because somebody left a comment under the post that I put up for Ahmaud, and they said, "I'm really grateful that you posted, because a lot of mega pastors, whatever that means, won't post about it." And I said, it's because they're afraid to lose tithers. And I said, I can't be bought. And if I have to be silent for tithe money, then that means I don't trust God, and maybe I'm not called to ministry. But you can't be a Christian and not speak out on injustice anywhere you see it. What I saw was reprehensible, disgusting, and dishonorable, that a man jogging can be tried and convicted by a jury of people who don't know him, shoot him, kill him, and go home. Not only not charged, but who knows when a grand jury will convene to even consider charges. For those who say, this is race baiting. No, it's not. I'm tired of people trying to silence me because you don't like the truth of what's going on. You need to look no further than New York City. Sean King consistently puts up videos that show that police know how to control themselves depending on who it is that's in front of them. They're passing out gloves and masks like lollipops in Central Park, but they're beating the tar out of people 5 miles away. And it's ridiculous. It's like the rage of the officers. They know they can do it and get away with it. It's wrong. I don't care about it's also illegal, but it's wrong. I want my wife to get on this live because I want to talk about how real this was for me. I've been sitting my whole life fighting to build bridges between culture. But the truth is, my brown skin does not afford me the same liberties as some of my fellow brethren, depending on where I am. And I'm not saying that because I want special rights. I don't. I want equal protection under the law. Everyone should be treated equally. Shout out to Ken Clater, Alive Church, because we need an alive church, somebody that's willing to get up and live. We need to wake up. You need to tell people, get on this live, because I'm getting ready to bring a couple people on here that are going to help further this conversation. Hold on for a second. Both of you go to your rooms for right now. I need to spend time with mommy. You're taking them over? Well, please, while you're doing that, yeah, get on, but get your phone, because I need to do this now. What?
I'm coming right back.
No, but hurry. Theory. Go ahead. Sorry. It's hard to be angry when your daughter is so cute. And someone said, where's Trump, though? Let me say this, because what I'm not going to do is allow the comments to devolve into partisan politics, because our president is not our problem, because politics is downstream from society. What do I mean? I heard Mike Gazzardo say that. It's one of my good friends. Mike Gazzardo said politics is downstream from society. And what he says is we vote who we are. It might not be who you are, but as a whole, this nation voted. So don't get mad at our president. Don't get mad at our Senate. Don't get mad at the House of Representatives. Don't get mad at our judicial appointments. They are downstream from the society that we have allowed. If you don't like what you see from a governmental standpoint, then vote. Then vote. And I know somebody will say, well, what about voter suppression laws and unjust, voter restriction? I understand that. From the days of the grandfather clause until right now, our country has so many things it needs to address. But right now, there's no one to blame. I am afraid that if we don't address the systemic injustice that's happening, mixed in with the rage of people who are desperate, mixed in with the hunger of people who can't find food, mixed in with the sadness from people who dropped their loved one off at the emergency room and then got a call to come pick up a body without saying goodbye, people are going to lose their minds and they're going to start doing crazy things. I'm telling you what I know in my spirit. And wherever injustice is across this country, you're only going to be able to poke the bear so many times before the bear bites back. I'm not advocating for violence. I would never advocate for violence against authority figures. I'm just telling you there is a limit and a point at which people break. And it's not just one factor, it's multiple factors. It's the reality that the stress of being brown is not enough. This virus disproportionately has been vicious to the African American community. I don't believe it's a conspiracy. I just believe it's what it is. But it doesn't change the fact that there are other things that are within the control of the human condition that we could address. The virus doesn't listen. It doesn't care. Until we have a vaccine or a cure, we're going to have to deal with a new reality. But if you are a police officer, you can control how you communicate and convey. Now, if your life is in danger and you're an officer and you're threatened, by all means, do what you must. But if somebody's got their hands up or standing still and you just see them as less than human and you start beating the living tar out of them, then I got a problem with that. And I'm tired of preachers being scared to talk about it because we rather be popular than relevant. And daggone, man, that's what we're supposed to do. Fight for the people who can't fight for themselves. Be a voice for the voiceless. And no, is every cop bad? No. Every state trooper ain't bad? No. But the ones that are doing damage for the ones that aren't. now. I'm trying to see if my man is on here, because he told me he was going to come on and we were going to do a live together, and hopefully I'll see him. I'm going to go looking for him real quick. Hold on. By the way, I want to know what you all are thinking about what I said. Somebody just said, lost my daddy about a month ago. Black man lost, it's not coming back. I absolutely agree. Unarmed black man shot in the back, first tased, then shot while he was live on Facebook. It's unbelievable. I had to pause. I'm trying to get somebody to come on live. I don't want to say who it is until I see him. Trying to get my wife on first. Let's see. I see a couple people. Let me see if she'll come on. I want you to tell somebody to get on this live. We need to talk. What are the solutions? What are the solutions? What are we going to do? Because somebody said, are we just going to continue with no actions without results? No, tonight is about actionable items, actionable steps. No, leave it on, but I'm going to have to come over there because I don't have a charge. You want to come over here with me? It's about to die too. Mine is too. How much you got? Don't matter. Just come on and add me real quick. There she is.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, baby? You all right?
Well, am I all right?
Yeah, I already know that answer. I already know that answer. Oh, Lord. Somebody trying to call you? Hello?
Oh no.
All right,
Yeah. I'm not all right.
They shot him while he was jogging.
You know, I feel like, and this is what I placed in my story, 8 years ago we were doing the same thing. Trayvon was walking in a neighborhood with candy, and someone decided to pursue him. And I had a newborn, and I was thinking, it doesn't matter that we don't know him. It doesn't matter that, he wasn't caring. It only mattered that he was Black, and somebody felt like they had the right to shoot him. And I'm a mother of a Black son. I'm the wife of a Black husband. And for every other mother or wife to have to live in fear of, if and when their loved one may return home is a lot. It could have been any of us. Any of us could be the hashtag at any moment. It's very disheartening that we are so accommodating to silence if it does not
Directly
affect us.
Right.
And everybody should feel something. I see somebody saying that the man who shot Trayvon was Hispanic, but the guy, I think the officer that had his leg on the neck of a Black man in New York wasn't white either. He was just an authority figure.
Yeah, see, this is the thing, before you finish, this is not about color. Y'all want to try to reduce this to white versus Black. It's not. It's about a misappropriation and an abuse of authority. And there's also an entitlement, and there's a spirit in this nation that causes one people group to think that they can do anything with impunity to another people group, because historically there has never been repercussions or consequences when those actions happen. That's what
Yeah.
this is about. This is not about black and white.
Yeah, no,
It's,
I'm not even making it, when someone said that he was Hispanic that shot Trayvon, I'm just thinking that he was a kid who was walking with candy. What makes you feel or have the audacity to feel like you can just pull out your weapon and shoot? Nobody is being held accountable for their actions, which fuels the prejudices and the racism in this country even more. Um, Race is definitely a factor. Authority, abuse of power is a factor. The accommodation of silence, if we're not directly affected, is a problem. Um, I referenced Trayvon, and I know there's been plenty for years and years and years. I referenced him because I remember the turning point or pivotal moment for me when it became real to me, because that was the year that I became the mother of a black son who wears hoodies and loves them. You know what I'm saying? So my heart is broken because this man, here's the other part, for people who've seen the video or not, like, who was filming this? Who knew that this was going to take place, that they got it on camera and felt the need to? And not saying that we shouldn't be seeing the video. I mean, we needed to know about it, but the fact that somebody was calculated enough to know that this was going to happen, uh, it is really sad. I don't understand how you can sleep or live with yourself when you just take matters into your own hand. Now, mind you, if necessary and you feel threatened and all of that kind of stuff, people make decisions in a moment, but this was something altogether different. He was running. He wasn't doing anything.
and I need to say something, because I got a lot, and I try not to cut you off. This time I did, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
I literally think about the fact that if I'm going to exercise, I need to go to the gym, because a 6'3" black man running in a mixed neighborhood raises red flags. Like, I'm always apologizing for who I am. No matter where I go, I have to apologize. I'm always the bridge builder. I'm always the one reaching out. Like, why do I have to be the one reaching out? Why is there so much silence from the certain segments of the white evangelical community? Why is it always African Americans have to extend the olive branch when they're the majority of the ones that are being brutalized? I don't understand that. And I'm tired of that silence, because I know what it's like to be in the lawn of my own house. And I want you to talk about that story, because I thought, Aventer, and I'm not proud of this, but I have to say it. I thought, because I have devoted my life to building bridges and trying to be the guy that crosses cultural barriers and, all of that, that somehow that gave me some type of, I don't think I meant, maybe subliminally or subconsciously, perhaps there was an immunity because I was one of the good guys.
There's no immunity, because when people look at you, I can recall getting on a plane, you having on a hoodie, you just chilling, you got your backpack on, head down, hoodie. They have already sized you up and definitely are fearful. I witnessed someone back off an elevator because you were standing there and they could not see me. Um, I've seen, somebody make a different choice when coming up on you. You know what I'm saying? And I also know that, 5 years ago in our home in Bel Air, Texas, you were coming home in your vehicle, pulling up to the lawn, and you were followed. And this is when Periscope was a thing. Now, no disrespect to Periscope if you're still a thing. I'm not sure. But, Periscope was a thing, and I got on in tears because I was like, this could have been it for my husband tonight. Tonight, it could have been it for him because we were on the phone, and he pulled in the yard and just sat in the car talking to me for a little bit. And the police got out of the car in our front yard and was approaching my husband in our yard. My husband said, turn on the lights. He said, I'm not kidding. I need you to turn on the lights, and I need you to come to the door and open the door right now. I need you to open the door right now. And so I'm thinking
And
you're
she's like, you
laughing.
crazy. You so funny. I
I was
said,
like, No, he was like, no, I need you to open the door. You need to turn on the lights. You need to open the door right now. So I go to the door and I open it and I see him, and he asked me, ma'am, are you okay? And my husband is in our front yard in his black truck getting out with a Subway sandwich. That's what he had.
which they would have said looked
Now,
like a
mind
gun.
you, if I did not move the moment that he said, come and turn on the lights, and he was grabbing his sandwich, how many times would someone say, I'm not sure what that was, so I took matters into my own hand and I shot this big 6 foot whatever black man because I thought he had something that was other than, a sandwich, whatever. We don't get benefits of the doubt in a moment. You got the little boy out in Charleston, he's getting food before he heads to jail after he's ran his behind up in a church and shot people while they were praying. And he gets fined dining before he heads to jail, and he gets to live to remember the moment. But my husband can have a Subway sandwich in
And
his
they would have
yard.
said it looked like a gun in the dark.
It was
And
brown. It
yeah,
was a
no,
bag.
it was brown bag, was dark. It looked like a gun. He wouldn't comply. They make up all the story afterwards. I'm in my driveway.
Yeah.
Getting out of my car. And then my wife said, why would you ask me if I'm okay? That's my husband.
I'm
So, well,
like,
we didn't
this
know
is
he
his
wasn't,
yard.
the light was on
The
in that car.
lights were on in the car. There were no lights on at the house, and in the house, the lights were on in the car, and he was just sitting in the car. Well, are we not allowed to sit in the car in our yard anymore?
Sitting
Are
while
we
black in the
not
car.
allowed to just have a conversation, a phone conversation in the car anymore? He's approaching my husband's vehicle. He isn't doing anything. You don't hear loud music. He's talking to me. Thank God he's talking to somebody. And if I had not turned on those lights and opened the door, I don't even know if we'd be having this conversation. I don't even know if he would have heard his voice again. I don't know if my children would have a father. I'm telling you that I am almost to the point where I don't understand why are we going in circles? A hashtag. A hashtag. They
Aventer.
didn't see him as a pastor or somebody who was preaching. Gonna ask, oh, so you're the one that preaches at the church down the street? No, you're black in a Range Rover, and you're in a car in a yard. It can't be your house because this neighborhood doesn't have many brown people. Like, what are we really doing? I'm so sad for the state of this nation, and nothing seems to change. But when we do something or we have moments, we're dead if we do and dead if we don't.
Woo! Stay there for a minute. Just stay there for a minute. I need to say something. You said, I don't know if my children would have had a father because Theory had just been born.
Right.
At that house. I didn't realize, I thought it was just John. So neither one of my kids would have grown up with me because my blackness was weaponized before I knew it. And And let me tell you that the reason why I'm talking about this now is because the state of the church as it is has changed. And there probably would have been seasons where I would have been silent because I want to, get all the evidence and let's just talk through it. No, some things need to be addressed right freaking now because there is a race problem in this country. It's a race problem in the church. If you're not safe black, they don't want to hear from you.
Oh my God, you're
You got to be a good
acceptable.
boy. You got to
You're
be a good Negro.
acceptable as long as you're making the conference the money. Okay? You're
Hey,
acceptable and you're invited as long as you're making the conference the money, and then we find the next black guy.
listen.
So it is what it is.
Listen, I was never safe because I was always broken. But now the masks come off. And I want to say something because, there's one of our brothers, I told you, other than you, I wanted on this call tonight. Because he texted me today. He was so angry and was so enraged by what he saw. And he's consistently been a voice. And it's cost him to stand. Because you don't see a lot of white pastors taking a stand for black bodies, particularly in the church, because it messes with your money. Because the truth is there's a certain subsection of the church that wants to bury their head in the sand when it comes to race issues and be like, no, just Jesus, sing me a song. And Jesus is like, I can't really sing you no song till you deal with this thing over here. How you treat the alien and the stranger and the poor and the oppressed and the one that's broken.
Yeah.
And so, let's go ahead and have that conversation. I'd like to bring him on, babe, but I want to give you an opportunity to share what else.
No. I'd like for you to do that because people need to see, and I want to shout out Beth Moore because
Yes.
she was real candid on Twitter, and it blessed my life. Because she was saying, I'm sorry, I'm white, but everybody can see what this is. Everybody can see. And she wasn't content to be silent. And I thank God for her. She's an amazing woman of God. There are people who are or happen to be vanilla that understand and they get it. So it's not everybody. It's not everybody. But Beth Moore blessed my soul. If you have not seen her tweets, you should go out there and look at them because she went for it. So yeah. But I wanna go ahead and log off, babe. I love everybody, praying for everybody. My heart is broken. I'm in a stoic, I have a stoic disposition. I'm literally asking God, what is it? Come on and win. You have to speak the truth, and you have love you guys. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, babe. I need to get this. My phone about to die. Can I trade you, please? Let me see if he's still here. Let me go in here and see where he is. Here he is. Let's see if he'll pull up. Let me see if he'll pull up on me. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Carl Lentz is in the building.
What's up, my brother?
Man, I'm hurting.
I know.
I'm hurting because they drove up in pickup trucks. That makes it worse because that brings up all of the stereotypes of the fear from what's the man that they drag? No. Not Emmett Till. We got Emmett. We can go Emmett Till, but I was talking about in Texas. They put him on the back of the truck and drug him till his body fell apart. Somebody put it in the feed. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But they thought they were his friends, and then they put a chain on his neck, put him off the back of the pickup truck, and just drug him till pieces of him fell off. But here's a a man. Here's the thing, Carl, and I want you to talk, but here's the thing. He's a human running, and other humans devalue him to the point that he becomes target practice, and he's already tried and convicted and a predator, and all he's doing is running. That's all he's doing. So running is a crime that is punishable by citizen's arrest. And if you don't comply with complete strangers with shotguns who could be coming to kidnap you, you don't know anything. He's just jogging. I would fight too if somebody pulled up on me with a gun. I don't know what you're doing. You're not a police officer. You don't have the right to stop me. So you reached out to me today and you were like, "This, you blessed me," because you were like,
I think it was yesterday too. I pretty much hit you all the time to vent, but yeah. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I love hearing you talk.
No, I wasn't. What is it what made you, why did that hurt you?
Well, honestly, why I called you when I saw it, and huge shout out to your wife, Av. Her hair looked phenomenal on this IG Live. She needs to know that.
I did her hair.
You know, I'm grateful for Sean King, for continually making sure that this narrative doesn't get lost. You know, Sean said something a while ago just about tragedy fatigue. Like sometimes I think the Black community has to battle that on top of everything else. Tragedy fatigue. Like so many things are traumatic that after a while you get numb. And that's what the devil banks on. That's what the power structures bank on, is that people will just give up because it just happens so much. And when I called you, you know, I just thought of your son, because I know your son's going to be at least 6'3". And you live down south. I'm from Virginia, so I get that. And I just, for whatever reason, God put your son on my heart. And I just called you. I just said, man, this could be your boy, you know, and if we let this stuff just keep on slipping under the radar, I don't care if it's COVID, I don't care what it is that people try to use as like a bigger problem, you know, this is going to continue. And I think I'm hopeful tonight. I'm discouraged, but I'm hopeful. I feel like God's doing something, at least in the church, John. I really do. I feel like if we would just get our act together in the church, we wouldn't need a politician. We wouldn't need anybody else to come alongside and help us bring change. There's enough Christians just on this call alone where if we would stop bickering about little things and stop using things, you know, as agenda platforms, we could have already seen change. But I do think that's going to be the new wave of the church. I feel like some of these things have stood for so long is because we've just taken our eyes off of it. And now it's getting so bad that, you know, we're thinking of people like our own kids. Like, I don't want my boy, I don't want your son, I don't want my daughters to grow up in a world like this. I feel like I want to die, you know, leaving our generation behind us with a better world, and we can do it. So that's the first thing I want to say, is that I want you to have hope. You know, I want you to hear it from me. And I know I'm not the only white pastor in America that cares. I do think we have a long way to go when it comes to people stepping up and using their voice. That's obvious. But yeah, Sean King said, he said, can you ever imagine the time where 4 black men rolled up on a white man and hopped out of their car and pulled guns on him and made a citizen's arrest? He said, can you imagine that happening? No, because it's never happened ever. And I think that right there, I think there is a portion of white people, maybe even some people listening tonight, that still don't get it. Like, they still think it's a political narrative, or still think racism is a construct it's real, bro. I mean, that's when I feel like losing my mind, is when I talk to people and they still need convincing that this is a thing. But you take a situation like this and you spin it, and imagine if that happened. Have you ever seen footage of 4 black men rolling up on a white guy running and pulling out guns? No. I've never even seen black activists standing in their courthouse. You know how in Michigan the other day they had these white guys looking like Call of Duty tribes. Right. You know, using their you can't even put your hand on your side if you're black, and if you have a phone, right? You're gonna die. But yeah, you switch the cup and you're allowed to have, you know, these giant automatic weapons, with them saying this is my right, and police talking to them. So I think the first step is to get people to understand, like, this has to matter to you. It has to matter. Like, this isn't about racism. It's about evil. It's deeper than that. And I think we're gonna work really hard at making sure that that's known. And I'm sorry, bro. I just hate it. I just can't. I just couldn't stomach it when I saw that video. I got nauseous. I haven't seen anybody die on camera, and I don't know, ever. And to see that, I just feel like I want God to use it. I don't want him to be. We just don't need more funerals like this.
The part that got me the most is after he was shot twice by a shotgun, he still tried to run. He ran about 3 steps and then his body just gave out. And it hurt me so bad because he had no clue what was coming. He was totally fine. And within 1 minute, his life was ended because people had determined he had no value and he could be killed because of what they thought, not because of what they knew. And they don't have authority to judge him and to try him and to convict him because there's always a narrative. Well, we thought he might have been stealing. It doesn't matter. The penalty for stealing is not death on the street. It's not.
No.
If there was a crime, you let him go to jail. You go through due process. If somebody does a crime, they should pay for their crime. But you don't kill a man unarmed on the street because you think you can. And I am not an advocate for vigilante justice. But I'm telling you this, there are people who don't think like me. And they're at their end.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple of them today.
Well, listen, and let me say this for those who don't know how far we go back. When I first met you and came to Virginia Beach, I witnessed what was then really a shocking display of multicultural ministry, where you had a homogenized group of young people on fire for God. And you're in Virginia, which is not the bastion of civil rights harmony, my friend.
The capital of the Confederacy, to be exact.
Right. After you took me to the seafood spot with the
Captain
chicken and
Jordan.
broccoli,
Yep.
with the balsamic, which I still remember, you were like, let's go play basketball. I'm like, cool. And you take me to the ghetto, and we get out, and there are a bunch of drug dealers. And we walk in, and I'm like, it took me to go with a white guy to the hood to die. I'm going to die. And you walk in, and we meet real people who sell drugs because they don't have another way to make a living. And you're sitting there ministering to them, talking about Jesus and playing basketball. And it was so strange to me that it had never occurred to me that the police state that we live in and the prison farm that we call the justice system disproportionately affects a certain section of our society. And I had bought into the idea that they were the enemy. And you humanized for me people and men who looked like me, who needed to know that they were loved by God, that they had a voice, that they mattered. Yeah. And I just want to tell you in front of whoever's here, thank you for being that, because there are not many pastors, let alone white pastors, who have the guts and the balls to speak up for injustice. I personally know. You said Happy Black History Month at your church, and some folk walked out.
Well, my favorite thing is when we're going to have White History Month, we always say it's called every other month.
Exactly. And so I think the actionable steps is that there's a website called Run with Maud. Is that what it is? Mm-hmm. I want somebody to type it so we can see it in the feed here. Run with Maud. Hey, you see, I think Justin's on here. What's up, Justin? But he said, watch Judah's sermon. He's on live. Justin, we're not going to see Judah right now. We're over here, okay? And we know about your little single on Friday with Ariana, but right now we're talking about real things, okay?
Shout out to JB for using his platform consistently to do things like you did today. And that's not
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, the thing that I love is that he's always talking about his relationship with the Lord. But I think it's also important, Carl, and it has to be said, and I'm going to just go ahead and say it. The conversation about race is not a conversation between black and white. It's a conversation between white and white.
Yeah.
I think that people have heard enough from me. It's going to have to be a conversation that white leaders have with other white leaders, or white influencers have with other white influencers, like my wife said, Beth Moore, like a Carl Lentz, like people who understand what this is. And this is not about race. And I said it earlier, for me, this is injustice. It happens to have a racial component, because in this country, it's always had a racial component. When Dylan Root they ordered for him, Aventer, they asked him, what would you like to eat?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had just killed 9 people who were praying, Carl.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got Burger King. And there are people who have died of COVID in prison who are still awaiting trial, you know? And this is to me, and here's what's funny, because there'll be people who are watching this, and I'll get texts from a lot of our friends, and they'll be like, what can I do? And I'm like, you could have said something. I love you. But you can say something. You can open your mouth, or you can use your platform, or you could do something other than just say how sad it is. But it's going to cost you some skin. And it might cost you one of those nice conservative tithers that you're counting on. So you're going to have to trust God for your increase and not be worrying about people. Because if you are bought by people, then you are not purchased by God. And I feel like a black preacher right now. I feel like E. Baba Shando.
Well, go ahead and E. Baba Shando it out there. No, you know what, my brother, I think, there are a lot of good intentioned white people that I know. And my word is always good intentions. It's kind of like when you're sick and someone sends you some thoughts and prayers, and you're like, I could have used some soup.
Whoa.
Could have thrown in some, some ginger ale. Like, I appreciate your thoughts and prayers. And I think that the day of good intention is over. I don't even think it's a part of our faith. I can't speak for those that don't follow Jesus like we do, but I do think at some element, like, I was very lucky to have parents that at a very early age. I remember one time in a supermarket, we saw a racial thing go down, and my mom grabbed me by my face, and my mom, Kathy Lentz is serious business, and she said, "You see that man? He's an evil racist. We don't treat people that are different than us like that man." And I was probably, a little bit younger than Roman. And I remember looking, my mom, she's nice, but she pointed right at this dude. And I know he would have hurt her. See him? He's an evil man. He's a racist. At this house, what we do. So the bedrock of my thinking was something that is honoring of God, right? A lot of people we know, they don't even know what to teach their kids. So they grew up in a system where, they just thought that, everything's cool. Like, racism isn't really a thing. And I think it starts with education when it comes to making people aware of this. And some people are stubborn, and that's why, like, when you were talking before about, there's always a narrative, always a context. Well, it didn't really look like that. Only black people have to prove why they should live.
Oh, God.
It's just crazy to me. You're supposed to prove why you killed somebody, not why you deserve to live. And I just think that there's little snippets like that you can pick up if you really want to open your eyes. This is not a political thing. Like, we got hit back in the day when 2 black men were murdered on our streets in New York, and we talked about Black Lives Matter, and I was just shocked that people had an issue with that. And we talked about it. I just kept telling people, Black Lives Matter it didn't mean that, other stuff didn't matter too. But right now, this is what was important. And anytime you're so threatened, a lot of the white community is threatened by everything. So they're defensive about everything. But the job of a Christian is to lay down your comfort so you can pick up somebody else's story, so you can hear them, so you can just feel somebody else's pain. I can never know what it's like to be you. I can never know what it's like to be black, but I can listen, and you can help me learn. You can help me see. You can help me feel differently. And I think there's so many people that are going to get on that train, bro. I know it. I see it. I feel it. I've seen change in New York City in the 10 years we've been here. And I know what's happening before that, but I know even in our own church, we have people who started out so like, whoa, you're not going to be one of those social activist dudes, right? Keep politics out of the, and I'm going, oh, so you hate Jesus. I don't know what church you were raised in. So you're not following Jesus. You want to talk about you don't like social activism? First of all, that word needs to be redefined. Like social, I hate the fact that we're compartmentalizing things. Like we got to do social justice and we got to do this. Like one of the problems is that we're activist oriented. We're event oriented. Like it takes a tragedy for people to stand up and do something. Like people vacation in activism, but they live in comfort. That has to be changed. Like they visit it. Like this is my month to go to a rally or something. And I think it should be our baseline thinking. When I woke up today, I was an activist, and I was also a doctor, and I was also a teacher, and I was also a bridge, and I was also a servant. Like that's the job of somebody who is claiming to be following Jesus. So I feel like two things have to happen. We got to do the practical. And I've heard some people who are frustrated say, I'm sick of marching and I'm sick of doing petitions. And I hear that, but we still need to do the practical. Anything helps. And then we got to shoot for the impossible, which is to get people in seats of power that can break down the power structure. And I just play ball real late over here in Jersey with one of my boys. His name is Jarrell. He played ball at Sacred Heart. And he chose to take a route where he's like a tax attorney. He's a tax lawyer. He's just an amazing black man who's cutting new ground, and that's cost him. It's cost him a lot to do it. But I see men like him, and I go, he'll be a judge someday, if not the president, right? That's when you start seeing change. And I think these two things have to happen. We got to do the practical, and then we got to start raising up a generation that is almost quietly mobbing out. Like before you know it, you just have an army of people that are not predominantly white that are making decisions. And that's going to be what scares the white power structure that is. Petitions and people being angry, they know it's going to die down. Because we were this mad about, the last wave of things that happened. And to be honest with you, it never stopped happening. It's just we got lucky enough to see this video. But even right now in Brooklyn, and we need to say this because you and I both also know really honorable policemen and women.
Yes, and I said that at the beginning.
They have the hardest job in America right now. And I'd like to take a moment and say to those policemen and women that are honorable, we love you, we pray for you. It can't be an easy thing right now. But there's this component right now of people that have to open up their eyes on a different level and start to say, God, change my heart, show me what I can do the practical, and help me do the impossible. And that's what we're going to see. I know we're going to see it. It's got to happen. And I was encouraged today, bro, to see people using their platform. And Instagrams ain't everything, but it's better than what it's been before. I saw more people step out today and put some stuff up that they haven't normally done. And I'm grateful for that. We shouldn't downplay it, but it's not enough. I've had some frustrated black people in our church from time to time say, it's not happening enough, and I'm angry, and we need to do more. And to them, I can only say, I hear you. Racism didn't start today, didn't start yesterday. It's not going to be fixed tomorrow. But every single day, we're going to chip away at the culture. And so that's kind of where my hope is tonight.
Yeah. Well, you have blessed me. You've blessed a lot of people tonight. The conversation needs to continue. And then the activism part, run with Maud. We need to get on that website. We need to demand that they convene a grand jury. We need actionable item steps. But then we also need to continue to scream real loud, and it needs to be a unilateral voice. It can't just be, the classic usual suspects, because people are tired of entertainment activism. What I mean is people who are doing it because they want to keep their name in lights, as opposed to this is wrong. Like, this could cost me my life. Like, if you hadn't come outside when I asked you to, I could have died that night in my front yard.
Yeah.
Because I'm big and I'm black and I was coming out of a car that they probably don't think I should have. And that's ridiculous. And I think that when people say, keep politics out of church, politics is one of the reasons that the church lost credibility. All you have to do is look at the last election cycle, and people put Jesus in front of their politics. And they're like, yeah, well, once, they're voting based on some issues that they don't agree with and leaving, the other 64 books of the Bible out. And I don't want to get into all of that, but the point is they conveniently talk politics when they want to, and then they disavow politics when they want to. And so we're going to have a real conversation about the Jesus of the Bible who met with the poor, the oppressed, the broken, who dealt with lepers and prostitutes and wine bibbers and tax collectors and people that society could not stand, and where he built relationships and where he built inroads. It looks very much like what we need to be doing in light of what we see, the over-policing of Black communities, the disproportionate amount of deaths that come without any type of conviction, let alone being fired. Like, you're not even going to lose your job. Like, you're not only are you going to kill somebody, you get to keep your job. Like, we're going to suspend you with pay pending the investigation. Like, I don't understand how people don't think that somebody take this into their own hands. And I don't think they should. But people can only take so much. You think people going to sit in line when they don't have any more money and they can't get food for their family? Think they're going to stand in line at the grocery store? No, they're not.
Think about this. And a lot of white men can't think like this, but if my son was shot dead in the street and it was 4 Black men that did it on camera, like, do we really think that there'd be no charges? Like, do you know what I would burn the whole state down. I'd burn it down. I'd walk around with a flamethrower. I would die. Are you kidding me? And the Black communities are supposed to deal with that. Like, this family has to see these people in the community. Like, it's just asinine that we would think that this is okay in a country like ours. Like, to have somebody murdered, they got questioned and released. And I think that's kind of the state of the union in so many cases. And it's going to change. It will change. It has to change. But it's going to take everybody watching this. It's going to take everybody to get to that place where you say, God, open up my eyes. That's always my prayer. Because once they're open, this stuff is like a switch, bro. Once you start living with empathy and you start getting passionate about other people's struggles, more passionate about their struggles than your own, you cannot turn it off, because that's how we're created to live. Literally, it's like once your eyes open to this, you're like, wow, I care about stuff I never cared about. I'm passionate about things I was never passionate about. That, to me, is what this life should be about. And so the more people we can get just to switch it on, like, before you judge and before you get mad and before you tell me what's not a problem, take a moment and just imagine what it would be like on the other side. Just imagine what it would be like to carry, you remember that meeting we had at Hillsong, New York City, where we had like 40 or 50 Black people in our church, and we just had a meeting, and we just, took 50 people that we know were faithful. And I just said, tell me what it's like to be Black in New York. And I had never thought of so much, stuff. I just couldn't even imagine it. Like, people I know as well as you going, well, every day to see somebody cross the street because they see me coming, that's just kind of normal. Somebody else, story after story after story, but they've just internalized it. It's just always the way it's been, Carl. Like, this is just our life. And it's just, that moment for me was one of many that just gets me to that place where I go, well, we're just not going to get numb to it. That's why you cannot visit activism. You have to live here. It's not a vacation to take. It's not a department of the church. It should be the bedrock of who we are. And once you live there, bro, you don't care what you lose. You don't care who leaves your church. You don't care who hates you. You don't care who comes at you on stupid IG troll world. Like, type away. Here you go again, Mr. I hate being white. I mean, the stuff that people say. But it's funny because God will protect he'll protect your heart, and he'll protect your soul, because it's like, this is what we were born for. Not everybody's going to get it, but they're definitely not going to stop us. So once we can get people to flick this switch in their soul, which means life is not about me. It's about learning about other people and helping them. That's when we start seeing change, and we are seeing it. I'm raising my kids like that. You're raising your kids like that. And that's where some of our peace, some of our solace is. Now, I raised Roman differently than you raise your boy. I don't have to tell Roman where to put his hands if he gets pulled over. I don't have to tell Roman to sit up straight and look somebody in the eye because he's white. You know, he can mouth off at a cop. Maybe that'll change someday. I don't know why I just put that on Romy, like he's gonna just mouth off at some cop.
Right.
But I
Shut
think
up,
that the
officer.
fact that we have to raise our sons differently, I'm not good with that. I'm never gonna be good with that.
Jesus. My wife just typed wow, because the truth is Romy doesn't have to deal with what John has to deal with. And what's crazy is I'm 46, and I don't know how many people are on this that will remember this, but you're young. You're a whippersnapper, wet behind the ears. But I used to go in department stores, and when I was a young man, you would hear a bell overhead. It would say ding, 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 ding. The bell.
Was it a buffet? Because if I saw you come into a buffet, I would have alarm bells go off. Shut down the buffet because it's about to be empty. And that ain't about race. That's about you going to put in work. Go ahead.
Silence, 8-pack abs. Just simmer down.
You're a giant Skittle. Go.
It was vanilla wafer of anointing. What I was trying to say is that it was a bell that let the security know there's a black guy in this section.
Mm-hmm.
I knew, keep your hands out. I wasn't there to steal. I had money. Keep your hands out where they can see them. Move slow. I'm 46. I still know when I go in stores, I have to carry myself differently.
John, do you remember? Do you remember what happened in Miami? This happened to us. Remember when the dude?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
We almost got into a giant fight right there in the store because some dude just goes, "Can I help you?" over and over again, and you were like, "No, but maybe." Like it was bad. And I remember I took over for you, so you didn't get arrested, and I did, almost did. But
it was you. Was Richie there or Judah?
Richie, Judah.
Yeah, and of course they ran because
they did not run. They were there.
Ran.
We were all there.
Richie was like, "Hey, I'll be back."
No, they were both there.
I remember, but the store owners were get out, and they were ready to. They had stuff behind the counter.
They sure did. That was yeah.
Here's my problem. Had I not been with 3 white guys, they could have pulled out guns and said he was belligerent. We thought he was there to steal.
Yeah. Your posture was threatening.
Why is my humanity a threat? Why is my size a threat? Why is my skin a threat? And it's been like this since 1619 until right now for Black and brown people in this country. And there is, what we have not said, a spiritual component to all of this, which is why I think the conversation must begin in the church. Yep. And am I saying that I want special treatment? No. Carl, I just want to be treated like you. I want my wife to be treated like everybody else. Everyone should be treated equally. We don't have equal treatment. Not special, equal. Yeah. But we don't empathize. We don't see each other as equally inherently valuable. Yeah. We don't. Yeah. So anyway.
You know, I love you, and I know it's hard to hear this tonight, but you know, we're gonna win this fight. We are. Some generation's got to change it, bro. Some generation has to be part of the solution, and I really believe it's gonna be us, or we will die trying. And like you keep saying, it's bigger than race. It's just evil. It's power, you know, and it's sin. That's the root of all this. So we have the answer. And if we can just start in the church, man, that would be a huge, huge win. If we could just get, you know, church folks to just go, how about we use our faith for more than our comfort? And we just chill out for a second and realize, like, we're supposed to shift the world with the hope of the world. We're supposed to change everything because of what we supposedly know. So if you're not actively doing something, I always tell people, if it matters, it'll be on your calendar. So where in your day tomorrow are you going to focus on? Like, I spend time every day. I make sure I check Sean King's Insta. I hate it. I told him that. I said, I'm praying for you because you have a job in this life that's very, very difficult to have. And I pray for Sean to have, you know, hope and faith, because every day he has to see that. Like, I get to choose when I go on Sean's Instagram. I know what I'm going to find on there, but it's my duty to look. I don't care if I'm having a great day. I don't want to go see Sean today because he's going to show me about some injustice. It's my job to look. That's part of my faith. That's part of my obligation. And I think that's our problem right there. Like, I can't take any more tragedy. Well, I can say that as a white guy because I can go back into the white world. But until
Wow.
you can say that, I can't say that. You can't wake up tomorrow and go, no tragedy today. I can't handle any racial stuff. You are the racial thing, right? So the moment we get everybody to realize that, until you can rest, I won't rest. Until your son can just, live his life and go for a jog. And then if 5 white people look at him and go, he looks like a suspect, let's go get him. Let's go check it out. And then it goes bad and he's dead. Until all of our kids can run on the same streets, we're going to keep fighting. That I can promise you.
I want to thank you for being this person when nobody's looking, for being this man for years. As long as I've known you, you've been this. That's why I asked you if you would come on here, because the conversation between me and Av is one thing. That we're parents, we're also Black. I'm raising a Black son in a world, in a city, in a country that still sees race. Brother, I'm in South Carolina. So, we have attending racial disparities.
Hey, please cut his little dreads off. Until we get some of this under control, please give him a cleaner haircut, okay? I don't need that extra stress. Him and his fresh
Sir,
little...
you're racist.
Look,
could
okay?
you get your dread loops and shave them down? We're not going to let you be on the team. My wife has been unapologetic about her Blackness, and she's had conversations with me, if I can be honest, about that part of me that wants to always be the bridge builder. And it's almost like it's almost like that thing where somebody's like, God doesn't see color. Well, yeah, he does, because he created culture. I don't ever want to hear that. He does see color. And it would be foolish for me to deny the fact that as a Black man, God is reconciling a part of my culture as something useful for the kingdom.
Yeah.
But I'm not just a Black man. I'm a Black man who is a Christian. So I do empathize. But empathy doesn't mean blindness, because I can empathize with the plight of many people, but I can't be blind to the reality that I am a suspect when I walk out the door. They don't know I'm a husband. They don't know I'm a father. They don't know I love God. They don't know that I would give my life for a stranger. They would take mine. And so I just want to say thank you for being this man for as long as I've known you. And I would hope that our friends who text us offline will have some guts and grow a pair and say something online and get loud, because we need more loud faith believers of influence to say injustice, as Dr. King said, anywhere is a threat to justice, everywhere. So
I love you. I'm honored to be your friend. I thank you for, being who you've been for so long, and thanks for having grace. I think that there is a component of, the Black community that I'm aware of that sometimes just gets tired of trying to teach white people about stuff that's obvious. And I know I told our church, if we're ever going to win, if you're white in our church, you need to talk to a Black friend, and you need to ask them stupid questions. And if you're Black, you got to give a moment of grace here to look through it and see the attempt. That's where it begins, right? Because it's one thing to say, you should know. Okay, well, if someone's honest, they might say, I'm sorry. I'm just now realizing that this is a thing. Can you help me understand what's offensive? Can you help me understand? And we have a church filled with people like that, humble white people that want to learn, and gracious, Black and brown people that are willing to give you a moment, even if you have to suck up a little bit of like, are you for real? But that's the only way we're ever going to change. Like, that's the only way we're ever going to get there, and the moment we get more of that, I think it's gonna help. But you've done that, bro. I've been with you everywhere. We preached everywhere together, and I've seen you do the same thing in front of no matter what color the audience is, and I think God smiles on that with you. His hand of favors on you for being kind to people that you have every right. I've talked to some of my Black friends who said, Carl, I'm not having it this week. If someone trips out on me, and I was like, I get it, bro. Like, I get I can't take anymore. Like, it's time for me to act. I get that. But I appreciate you being a statesman for a really long time. And don't grow weary in doing good. That's my word for you in front of all these people. Do not grow weary. I know it gets tiring, but and just for all the African American and other non-white people that might be watching, there are more white people that care about this than you may know. That needs to be said. And maybe they don't know how to communicate it. Maybe they don't know how to, get it all together yet. But don't buy this narrative that there's like, all these people who are turning their eye to this. That's not true. We're taking ground, and we will continually. It's my word.
Well, before we go, I do want to pray. I've been talking about this for a while, and I want us to do what I'd intended for us to do. We had talked about doing this thing called The Bridge. And I did it at Oprah Winfrey Super Soul and all of that. But we need to have this conversation. Me, you, a couple other pastors.
I love Oprah, by the way. I just need to say that. Go ahead.
She's amazing. The idea that this conversation needs to be had amongst ourselves, because racism is not political. It's spiritual. That's a spiritual issue. They've been racist since the days of Moses and Miriam. They didn't like Moses because he married an Ethiopian woman. You done brought this black girl up in here, and God was like, okay, Miriam, come, let me talk to you. And then when he got finished with her, she was leprous. The Bible says, white as snow. Since you don't like her blackness, I'm going to make you so white you'll hate it. And Moses had to ask God to take the leprosy away from her. But it stopped the people from moving for a period of time. And so racism has stopped us from moving as a church, as a people, and it's as old as the Bible. I'm not going to live in fear. I'm willing to die for what I believe in. I'm cool with that. Jesus is coming back soon anyway. So whether I see him crack the sky or I close my eyes, I'm going to see him. I'm not saying that I want to die, but I'm willing to. And so I'm cool on that. But thank you.
Hey, let me tell you this too, bro. I saw you preaching in a hoodie. I don't want you to wear hoodies, not because it might make you more dangerous, but surely you're sweating to death. Like I saw that last little video you did. I went, someone needs to catch him. He's going to pass out. Don't do that. I want you to wear your little T-shirts. I want you to get some air. I want to make sure Aventer covers you, because you can't be up there in these freaking hoodies like you've been doing. And you had a mask on as well. Did you have a mask on in church
I had a mask
with a
on.
Hoodie? Bro, come on, man.
And gloves.
Come on. I know maybe quarantine, we've lost the plot as far as you getting down to 220, which was your word.
Man. Hold on. We're not doing this right now, okay?
We are doing it.
Babe, how much weight have I lost? I lost a lot, right?
Yeah, a few pounds.
Do better than that, babe. Make it believable.
Lost a lot according to what's our standard though, bro? What's
Never laugh at Carl that loud. That's Laura's job. Don't do that. Just because, hey, everybody, I have 2% body fat. Just because,
It's 3. It's 3. Don't.
I see Christine Kane on here and Laura. So hi to both of them. Love them both very much.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man.
I love you.
Thank you. Let's hope that this will be a wake-up call for all of us. And if we steward our influence properly, we can see the Lord even in the midst of this. So that's where I'm at. I love you. I love your hairline. I love your beard. I love your glasses. And the fact that your daughters dance better than you already.
Hey, why don't you tell the people why you only had 2 white boys in your wedding party? I was scared the whole time. I felt outnumbered. I felt threatened the entire wedding.
He felt threatened.
I did. There was a couple
5 of y'all.
No, there wasn't.
You, Kemp Muncie, Richie Wilkerson, Jason.
Rich was not in our wedding. He was a guest.
I'm telling you, there were not enough. You talk about diversity. I felt like, I'm gonna get in trouble being too funny. You just need to have more white people around. Okay, I'm tired of coming over. I'm tired of being in stuff like your wedding, and I couldn't find another white person for miles, and I felt threatened the entire time.
It was at Jensen Franklin's church, so it can't get whiter than Jensen Franklin. And my wife had 46 bridesmaids. I don't have 46 friends, so I was just picking people. The homeless guy on the end, I picked him up that day. So
you rented him.
I rented him. I gave him $15 in a coupon to Waffle House, and he was like, "I'll be glad to be there, Jim Green," since John Gray. That's what I said. So
I love
anyway,
you.
I love you. I love your shoulders, and
Hey,
always.
when you get off this, do not go to the cabinet. I can see you looking at it. You're looking at the cabinet right now. You're about to go eat something that you know is wrong. Stop it.
There's nothing here.
Get yourself some
Have I not
hummus.
been doing well?
Get yourself some hummus. Get yourself some vitamins. Go drink a gallon of water and take yourself to bed.
I'm sorry, I can't hear because you're breaking up.
I'll bet. That's good. It's really good. It's really good.
All right.
Hey,
Well,
I love you,
man. Oh, what happened to hold on, happened to your tone? We got to pray.
Pray.
I'm going to start, and then Vanilla will end. So we'll have a swirl. We'll have prayer swirl. Chocolate vanilla prayer swirl. Lord Jesus, thank you. Thank you for that moment of levity, because I was really sad. I was off all day. I even told my wife, I said, I'm off today. I feel something. And this really blessed me. We're praying for the family of Ahmaud Arbery and praying for the city of Brunswick, Georgia. I'm also praying for a lifting of the spirit of apathy that has set in on our nation, that thinks it's okay for someone to kill another human being because of what they think about them before knowing it's a fact and having no authority to do so. When our nation is on edge from COVID-19, close to 40 million people with no job, scarcity of food, uncertainty about the future, and still police brutality and vigilantism. God, we need a miracle right now. And I believe that it's the church that needs to reconcile these places. And I thank you for Carl Lentz and for the life that he's lived, not this moment on an Instagram live. This is not a story that he's saying. This is the life he lived, and I know what it cost him. I ask that you bless my friend, and I ask that you would bless our nation, and let us not be silent when injustice raises its head, in Jesus' name.
Yeah. Lord, I thank you for what you're doing in our country. May we not forget how good your grace is, that even when it seems so dark, we know that you're going to somehow bring light in it. And we pray for the Arbery family tonight, Lord, as they grieve, as they mourn, somehow bring comfort to them, Lord. And pray for people tonight that are scared, people that are frustrated. Lord, remind us that you're in the middle of it. We will not grow weary. We will not stop fighting. We will not stop having patience for people that are slow on this journey, Lord. Just we pray you'd move them up a little quicker. Help us to keep our eyes on what really matters. And we speak your blessing over our nation. This will not be the narrative. This injustice and this overt evil that has become so normal to us, Lord, may it wake us up and remind us why we're here. We love you. Speak your blessing over everybody that's with us tonight, Lord. Have your way with us. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Well, y'all, we love you. I'm going to go ahead and end this live right here. And Carly, I'll hit you up tomorrow, man.
I love you.
Give my love to the family.
Hug your boy for me, okay?
I will.
Okay. I love you.
All right.
Ab, I love you.
Love you.
You don't love him.
I do.
You don't.
I can't.
All right. Love y'all. Have a wonderful night.